Toasty, what kind of instrument is that? I don't even know.
Gosh, let me pull up my D&D sheet. I think it might be on there.
Oh, maybe it is.
I think I'm playing a bard with that instrument. So
cool. Hey guys, welcome everybody. This is the Witcher Lorecast, and as usual, we are having a weird and wacky time before the show. Welcome to our friends who are listening and our friends who are here live. I am your host, Tom Robots, and this is Toasty, my co-host, as usual. And man, as we get more and more comfortable with the show, it gets weirder and wackier. But hey, we're glad you're here. Pull up a chair, put your feet up by the fire. It's warm out. It's summer. It's hot, but we've got the fire going anyway because it's The Witcher. And it's always cold in The Witcher. It's dark.
It's a cold universe.
It's cold. And there's monsters.
The white frost is always coming.
The white frost is always coming. And you shouldn't feed ducks bread. Oh,
wow! A new subscriber.
And we got a new subscriber. Gift subs from
Almighty Crit gifted Swampman0110 a subscription. Almighty Crit gifted a tier 1 sub to Swampman0110.
Yes.
They have given 4 gift subs in the channel.
Well, thank you, Almighty Crit. And thank you, narrator AI voice. But that's amazing. I'm going to turn that down. I forgot to turn my sounds down. But okay, what are we doing today? We are talking about a number of schools, Toasty. This is a jam-packed episode. What are we talking about?
Sorry. So we're I wanted to say like 3 different words at the same time. That was so bad.
Welcome to my brain. Yes.
Yeah. The more I do this podcast with you, the worse I start speaking.
It's
I
contagious.
blame you entirely.
It's contagious. Yes.
So we're talking about basically the rest of the Witcher schools, because we're mainly talking about the School of the Bear and the Viper today. Mm-hmm. But we'll mention the Crane and the Manticore because they're so small. We literally can't even do anything else with them.
Yeah, it would be kind of silly to do an episode just for them because the episode would be like 5 minutes long and then we'd be like, and we're done. But hey, stay for the middle of the show because we got news for you guys. We got news, but should we hint at it?
No,
I think we should hint at it.
I think we should talk about the School of the Bear.
I think we should hint.
Hopping right into the origin. The School of the Bear was.
Can I give them a little hint? A little tiny hint. A little tiny baby hint. Little tiny baby hint. A little baby. Little cute baby. Little tiny little. Yeah, I can't make my voice.
A headache. Can you tell?
I can't make my voice higher, and now I'm gonna cough the rest of the show. A little tiny baby hint. The babiest of hints. No, okay, no baby hints. You just have to wait. Toasty says no. All right, that's fine. This is how
we ensure people stay to the middle of the show.
Right, that's right. He learned the lesson from last time where he busted up my whole like teaser, and now it's all about teasers.
Oh, you were testing me. This was a test, wasn't it? I passed.
Yeah, you went to school. You went to the School of the Robots, and you are now officially a Witcher.
That'd be a terrifying Witcher school. But you know what else is a terrifying Witcher school? The School of the Bear.
School of the Bear, yeah. Okay.
Which was founded by the first group to split off from the Order of the Witchers. The Witcher Arnagad, after attacking Rhys, returned to Castle Morgreg with his band of Witcher brothers. Mm-hmm. Battle ensued, with the Order emerging triumphant. Arnagad and his brothers retreated and settled in the Amel Mountains, establishing contact with the dwarves and gnomes in the region.
Okay. Yeah. And we remember some of these names. If these names don't sound familiar by now, go back and listen to some of the previous episodes because these guys have come up before.
Yes. Sometime after the founding of the school, a number of its witchers betrayed it in a similar fashion as before, where they nearly killed its grandmaster, Arnagad. These witchers then left and built their own school, the School of the Viper.
I can't imagine going from being a bear to being a viper. That seems like a backwards evolution.
I mean, it depends on how you think of it.
I mean, you're a mammal, a very large mammal going back to a reptile. That's just not how nature works, does it?
Yeah, but can a viper take down a bear, though?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think Almighty Crit in chat needs to look this up on the internet. Let's keep going.
Get back to us, Crit.
Get back to us, Crit.
At the peak of their power, the bears often traveled to Skellige, both due to its amount of monsters and the islanders' mindsets being akin to their own. Although the events that led to the establishment of the school happened centuries ago, some of the older witchers from the other schools would refer to them as kinslaying bears.
Ah, that's not a good name. You don't want to be known as kinslaying anything, really.
Yep, you don't.
That's bad.
It's bad. The school ceased to function after the bears failed in a contract to destroy a cabal of vampires. The frustrations of the people in the war-torn provinces around them boiled over into riots. Eventually, many of the surrounding villages banded together to destroy the school, as they would rather share the mountains with the monsters than the witchers. The bear witchers had little to no brotherly bonds with each other and no true loyalty to the school. They decided to part ways with each other and the school rather than die protecting the keep from the coming humans. Though their keep has been left in disrepair and has been buried by time and the elements, it is believed that some longtime members may have come back to reoccupy it as witchers are necessary again.
So Toasty, I think
see the common theme here, Tom.
Okay. So yes, there is a common theme going on with a few of these schools. This whole like fall apart, and then maybe a few members survive, and then they come back. And two, there seems to be an absolute, like, if you're going to fail as a witcher, you get an F if they're like, yeah, we don't want to work with you anymore. But you get it like an absolute 0. Like 0 out of 100 if they're like, not only do we not want to work with you anymore, but we would rather share this freaking mountain with the monsters than work with you. That's like, hey, I don't really want to date you anymore, but I would rather eat. I don't have a good analogy. I thought it would come to me. I don't know. I would rather go. I got one. I dumped my boyfriend so I could go out with you now. And then the next day after your first date, you get a text message that says, yeah, that was a bad idea. I'm going to dump you now. But I'm not just going to dump you now. I'm going to go back to my terrible ex-boyfriend. I would rather be with them than you. You're that bad. Right? It's kind of like that. And my terrible ex-boyfriend is a monster who sucks my blood.
So you found like the perfect Prince Charming, but instead of staying with Prince Charming, you decided to go back to the abusive ex-boyfriend who literally hits you?
Yes.
That's what you did?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And sucks your blood.
Sounds about right.
Right.
Yes.
And also murders you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's fair. There's definitely a weird mindset to
that's absolute failure right there. Like you are not doing your job as a witcher if they would rather go back to the monsters. That's my point. It's a pretty simple point.
So for special training exercises they did, which we've mentioned before, the students must pass the trial of the mountain. This requires venturing to the peak of Mount Gorgon to retrieve a special rune stone as proof of ascent. It was an especially brutal challenge as many boys froze to death long before reaching the summit.
Yeah, well, that seems kind of brutal.
Yes. Characteristics of a bear witcher. Witchers of the bear school, unlike the wolves or griffins, tend to be loners and do not forge strong bonds with their brethren. Meeting their brothers on the path can often lead to bloodshed. This is because of the philosophy of the school's founder, who believed that witchers should focus only on the job aspect of their profession. He thought that any code or knightly virtues were just inflated nonsense to feed the ego, and thus favored autonomy above all else. This autonomy extended even to the school itself.
And that makes sense for like the name of it being bear, right? Because bears are not pack animals. They will compete with each other for their prey.
So this is probably the reason why the people rather would live with the monsters, because the bears had terrible manners. like they hire them to do something like, hey, you bear, I need you to kill this noon wraith. And he was like, all right, comes back, has killed the noon wraith, has proof, and you got to pay him. And he's like, yeah, screw you. Walks away. It's like, what? Okay, cool.
Yeah, or you hire 3 of them and they all just fight each other the whole time instead of actually taking the noon wraith out.
Herrn Kaduk, hopefully I pronounced that right. It's a weird word. Was a difficult place to live. Due to the cold and snow of the mountains, the boys had to huddle up close to the hearth fires or sleep beneath mini firs. If they didn't, they would suffer frostbite or hypothermia. Jesus, it's ridiculous. Besides that, there was also the never-ending removal of snow from the fortress courtyard. This environment has given the Bear Witchers extraordinary endurance compared to their brethren from other schools.
You know, this is something I find interesting because I've traveled to cold places. I've traveled through cold places. I toured in a band. We would spend, winters on the road and be in cold places, but I've lived in Florida my entire life. But people will say things like, I used to live in Canada, and now that I've lived in Florida for the last year, I get cold when it's like 40 degrees out, but that used to feel warm to me. Things like that. Is that like a legit thing? That like you just get used to being in the cold all the time?
I don't know. I'm from Texas.
Yeah, I don't know.
What is cold?
What is cold? I don't know how this works, but I guess so. Like you just kind of get used to it, right? Like you just become hardier.
Anybody who's listening from Antarctica, please let us know.
I'll
let us know. That's
let it snow.
No,
don't do that.
Not one. Christmas yet.
Not that one. Not that one. Keep going. This is by far our cringiest episode yet.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Sorry,
please
everybody.
stay in the middle. We beseech you. The Bears also wore heavier armor, favoring defense over agility. They are known to use crossbows in the hunt. The school may have used shields once. This seems to have been abandoned, however, after a Witcher lost his, along with his entire arm. That's
wild, because shields make sense for fighting like human armies. But there's a lot of monsters that you would fight that shields wouldn't necessarily make very much sense to fight at all.
I'm imagining. So for people who have seen Lord of the Rings, and if you haven't, what's wrong with you? Right. Like whenever, what's her name? Eowyn, I think, is fighting the Wraith King, and like he swings that big old mace around and completely smashes her shield, and it
breaks her arm.
Completely messes her arm up.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that this dude got whacked by like some I don't know, basilisk tail or something, like something with I don't know, like something crazy. And it was just like, oh, there goes my arm. So, but I understand it.
Yeah. It totally makes sense why Geralt, especially in the games, employs the strategy of the roly-poly as opposed to the strategy of the like block and like tank it, because you don't freaking block and tank a basilisk tail. There's no way. That basilisk tail weighs way more than you do. Like that's just gonna, fling you off the side of the mountain. Like shields. No, doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's a good tactic.
Agility is, but they're not agile. So I guess the Bears have means of making it work.
I guess so. All right.
Now moving to known members. So first we have Junaid of Belhaven. Though the origins of Junaid were uncertain, he was reputed to be the fruit of an unusual love between a dwarf and a giantess.
What? Wait. Which of these was the male and which of these was the giantess?
It says
that was
giantess.
The female. Okay, yes, you're right. The answer was there in the word.
The other way. We're not going to go into detail. I guess it could. It could. It would be completely unconventional, but sure. Well, this was already unconventional.
Yeah, it could be.
We're not going to go into detail. We're moving on. When it came to choosing a sobriquet, Junaid chose of Belhaven, just like Ivo of Belhaven, despite the fact that Junaid didn't come from the town, and even was confronted by Ivo later on the path about the name. Like these guys meet up on the path. They're both bears. Instead of fighting each other like most bears do, they're arguing about a name, which is a hilarious interaction. I would just like to say, just imagine like you're walking along with your cabbage cart and there's two witches on the side of the road. Like, you took my name. What?
Yeah, right. I'm the real Belhaven. No, I'm the real Belhaven. Yeah, absolutely.
In 1243, Junon had searched out the Grandmaster Smith Tyne Sale as he wanted him to forge Grandmaster Ursine gear, but he had gambled away all his money, so he needed work. He accepted a contract from I'm going to try this one. It's going to be horrible. Charitz Gontran de Tufo, and took the retainer in Florence. In a day, he concluded that the problem was caused by a subterranean monster and ventured into the caves. As he made his way through the caves, he drew the bear school emblems on the walls to point the way out and wrote a warning for anyone else not to follow him. However, he was ill prepared due to his lack of knowledge of monsters. He ended up trying to fight against the Shalmar, but he was killed, and thus no one ever saw him again. Known to be mountainous in stature and have a killer beard and speak with refreshing candor.
Sorry, I had to get up and let the dogs in because they kept barking at the closed door. Should I take the next one?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, Gerd Legendary. I'm sorry, but it's like Gerd dash Legendary. Gerd Legendary.
It's just Gerd is his name.
Oh,
the dash is where you start. He was a legendary bear. He wasn't just a bear.
Toasty's the one who writes the notes on this, so I thought this was Gerd Legendary Bear, as in like Bear was the last name. I was like, that's an amazing name.
No, sorry.
All right, Gerd Legendary Bear. He was contracted by the heiress of the Dutch heiress. This is why you don't do podcasts after you've taken pain medication because you have a headache.
Fair enough.
He was contracted by the heiress of the Duchy of Arxia to remove her father from the throne. Insulting her with his rude behavior, he declined. After usurping her father, the heiress, Helena,
heiress. Heiress is not a word.
The heiress, Helena, put a contract on Gerd's head, and he fled to Skellige. Became good friends with Torgir the Red, the Jarl of On Skellig. That's the big island, right?
Yes.
He went on many adventures with him. While on a contract for a Striga, he was mortally wounded fighting off Calimir, a knight from Arxia. I'm so bad with names, guys. I'm so sorry. And his posse, though he succeeded in killing him. He made his way back to Castle Torsich. Is that how you pronounce that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Which was under attack from Nilfgaardian forces and died in its defense. Aww.
So next we have the other Belhaven, Ivo Belhaven, took to the path after his training and never looked back. Tried to avoid other witchers even. In 1267, during the Second Northern War, he was hired by the Nilfgaardian Empire to kill Gernachora the Isgiv. He underestimated her and was severely hurt while fighting off monsters sent out by her. It's crazy.
Yes.
He joined forces with Meve, the queen of Lyria and Rivia, and her army. After winning the fight, Meve offered Ivo a place in her army, but he refused, stating that he is devoid of emotion, not reason.
And then we have Ernegod, founder of the School of the Bear.
We've talked about him a lot, so
yeah. I think I just want to call him Ermagerd. All right.
Oh my god, it's the middle of the show.
We made it to the middle of the show. Let's do it.
Very well. Let us get this over with. Something has infested my vineyard.
Mm-hmm. Great. Let me go prepare my something oil then.
Hey, Toasty, you want to do the announcement or should I?
Take everything in order, Tom. Let's order to things.
People are waiting for the announcement. Can't we do that
still
first?
Hear it.
I'm excited. I want to do the announcement.
Got to do it level of least excitement to most excitement.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for listening to the show, for tuning in, and for putting up with our wacky beginning of the episode here. I apologize. I'm on drugs. Actually, no, I'm on like Tylenol. Maybe I have weird reactions to Tylenol.
Not like illegal drugs, please. Don't call the cops on Tom, please.
Like
we appreciate it.
Tylenol. like a very regular amount, like two regular tablets of Tylenol, because I've got a little bit of headache.
Weird tolerance to Tylenol, or anti-tolerance in this case.
I guess. I don't know, man. Who knows? But thank you for tuning into the show. We really do appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with us live while we do this whole thing. And thanks for being here, everybody. We really do appreciate it. Also, we got some new reviews in. We appreciate as well. Taking the time to tell your friends about the show. This show keeps on raising up in those ranks on the Apple podcast charts and things like that. So that's also super cool. So thank you for downloading the show and listening to it, or checking it out on YouTube. So we have we've got two new reviews. This one is from Jamie Dziak in the United States, who writes, "Great! 5 stars. Awesome podcast with a wealth of information." 2 exclamation marks after that one. So thank you, Jamie Dziak. And then we have Courier7 from the US, who writes, "Awesome podcast, 5 stars. Very well written and produced. Highly recommend this to anyone who wants to know more about the Witcher lore. Really enjoying the information in every episode and the super dumb jokes." I added that last part in order to cover this beginning of this episode. You can just attribute that last section to me. But thank you, Courier7, for that review. And if you would like to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, all you have to do is just log into their website. Even if you don't listen to us on Apple Podcasts, you can just log in. Even if you don't have an account, you can just make an account on Apple and just leave us a review. It's really helpful. And that's it for our reviews for this episode. So now we get to do the big announcement.
Yes, now we do. Okay, cool. So everyone come close, listen real close.
Wait.
Our Patreon is live.
Yay! We did it. That's the announcement.
Yes. So Patreon just went live today because me and Tom are really bad at doing things in a timely manner. But it's live.
No. The real reason is we wanted to take our time and make sure that we set it up correctly and that we put some cool stuff on there. So
we started doing it yesterday, Tom.
No, we didn't start doing it yesterday.
We started doing it yesterday.
We did. We did start doing it yesterday. Yes, that's actually the truth. We started doing it yesterday. So we started doing it yesterday, but we got it all done in a day, and we got it all up because we've been busy. We've been busy with stuff. We're busy guys. But anyway, it's up. So if you want to go check it out, patreon.com/Witcher Lorecast, I believe.
Yes, that should be right.
There's no just Witcher Lorecast.
There's no the.
And you can check out the different tiers. There are, I believe, 5 tiers.
5 tiers.
5 different tiers. And it's very similar to a lot of the other Patreons for the different Lorecasts, where the bottom tier, you can get ad-free episodes a day early, a lot of the basic level stuff. You can sign up on some of the higher tiers in order to join us at the end of the month, in order to guest on the show and talk about your experience playing the games or reading the books, whatever the recent episodes are about, or just things that you want to discuss on the show. But the $10 level tier, we actually added something new that we haven't done on any of the other Lorecast shows, and that is you get the ability at the $10 level tier, which is the tier below the $25 level tier, where you get to actually guest on the show, to send in every month your own recording at any point during the month that you are a patron of just whatever you want to add to that show. So maybe you were listening to an episode, you wanted to kind of just chime in on something, you wanted to share some thoughts on something, you wanted to have something to say about something, you wanted, maybe that episode reminded you of something you did in one of the games, or a certain part of one of the books that you just really loved, anything at all. At that $10 tier, you get to be able to chime in, and we will put your recording into an episode that month that you will be able to be included on the show that way. So very cool stuff. So that's a way that you can be involved as well. So go check it out, patreon.com/Witcher Lorecast. If you'd like to help support the show, we would absolutely love it. That money goes to supporting both Toasty and I, and the time it takes us to put the show together, to produce the show. Toasty does a lot of the research, a lot of the show notes. I do a lot of the production, and we both share in the burdens of supporting this on social media and all the other kinds of behind the scenes stuff. So the money gets split between the two of us, and it helps with all the behind the scenes stuff. So we would really appreciate that. So yeah, that's the big news. And we look forward to just seeing who gets to join us on a future episode of the show, especially because that's always fun to do with these other shows, getting to meet some of the people who want to join us on future episodes. So we look forward to that. So that's the big news. Anything else you want to share about that, Toasty?
No.
All right, cool. Let's go on with the rest of the show then.
I'm terrible podcast host. Can you tell?
Toasty does not work in marketing. Here we go.
I do not. Nope.
You smell of death and destiny, heroics and heartbreak.
It's onion.
Right, yeah.
All right. So thank you, Stagger. Stagger in chat says, congrats, Tom and Toasty. All right. So we wrapped up the School of the Bear. Let's dive into the School of the Viper.
I would just like to point out that Stagger spelled it Toastie. So just saying.
Right. Which is no longer correct because now you have that weird spelling. So Stagger, you failed. You failed in your spelling.
Yeah. But
that was me. That was really mean of you to point out how he failed in his spelling, Toasty.
I still appreciate that you were doing the correct spelling that was prior to the new spelling. And we've stayed on this way too long. So on to the School of the Viper.
All right, let's move on.
School of Viper. While it was rumored that the Vipers started their own school to continue their practice of accepting human and non-human contracts alongside the traditional monsters, this is actually false. The real reason was that its founder desired to defeat the Wild Hunt and founded a school dedicated to his purpose.
That's pretty badass.
That's really, yeah. I was like, ooh, this guy's cool. Yeah. So, and we'll elaborate on that a little bit later on when we talk about him. So probably the most alien and secretive of the Witcher schools, the Vipers managed to collect an incredible collection of books and scrolls on the Wild Hunt, which clued in many of its students to the true purpose of its foundation, because the founder did not tell anyone in the school about this. He built a school dedicated to bringing down the Wild Hunt and didn't tell anyone about it. Not even the students. So
one day, one of the students knocks on his door. Is like, hey, just had a question for it. Yeah, for you. Yeah. Come on in, Gary. I was just looking through the books in the library. 99% of them about the Wild Hunt. Is there a reason for that? Oh, no reason at all.
Yeah. So, and this will be explained a little bit later. Gary probably wouldn't have been brave enough to walk into the headmaster's office at this point. But so there was much speculation about why the school was founded for that reason. As a result, all Vipers were hugely knowledgeable on the Wild Hunt. So pretty cool. That's a really unique thing going on here.
Yeah.
Most of the time it was just like I separated because I want to not care about knightly virtues, or I want to care about knightly virtues, or we're all that's left. And these guys are like, we want to destroy the Wild Hunt. It's pretty, I can't find a word to describe it. So I'm just going to move on. After the usurper, or the predecessor of Emir Var Imris, for people who don't know, tried unsuccessfully to absorb the Vipers, the Nilfgaardian army destroyed their keep. Its students scattered throughout the empire, having been banned from entering larger cities. In approximately 1270, a group of Viper Witchers, accompanied by a sorceress with amnesia, were arrested by the Nilfgaardian Secret Service. Emperor Emir Var Imris gave them a choice. And I put choice in quotation marks because there is no choice. Assassinate a few kings in the Northern Realms in exchange for rebuilding the school to its former glory. There wasn't like an option number two. That was what they were told.
Usually that's like either do this
die.
Or die. Liam. Or you can do this. Or you can die.
Emir was so like cold of a guy that he was just like, there was no or die. It was just do it.
Yeah.
Because I said so.
Yeah, he's kind of a bastard.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and that's yes.
So this group managed to assassinate Foltest of Temeria and Dimavend of Adirn. The emperor, however, did not keep his promise, and instead of rebuilding the school, he sent bounty hunters after its few remaining members to remove any loose ends. So it wasn't even an or die, it was an and die. So he just didn't want to lie to them. And so he just left that out. And he was like, there was no or, it was just, I'm going to kill you anyways.
It was more of a like, do this before I kill you.
Yes. So like, do me this favor so that I can hurry up and kill you.
Yeah.
So
that's all.
Pretty messed up. Special training. Each student was given a pet to raise during their stay at the keep. Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, they get like
they would form a strong.
Wait.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
They get to choose like their Pokemon, like their starter Pokemon.
Yeah, they get a starter Pokemon. Isn't that cool?
Oh,
that's so
cool.
Great, right?
Yeah.
They would form a strong emotional bond with through their training.
Wait.
Before becoming a fully fledged Witcher, they are ordered to slaughter the animal.
Oh God. Oh no! Are they all different types of snakes? Is that the thing, though?
I don't know. I mean, like, but it's like it doesn't matter what it is. You form this, really strong emotional bond with your pet, and then you're just like, and then they're like, hey, you pretty much passed all the trials. You did a real good job, but before we can fully anoint you, I'm gonna need you to kill Buddy.
Yeah. You know that one thing that you're holding on to help you get through basically your childhood and all these terrible things we're making you go through. Now you have to murder it.
Yep. So, and this is something that results in how the Vipers are truly, because it is just, the Vipers are cold and ruthless. That is what they're known for.
Yeah.
Especially the mentors. The reason for their cold and ruthlessness with the students was to prepare them for the would-be Witchers for the harsh life that awaited them.
Well, we've talked about this before. The world of The Witcher is just like everything's bad and just keeps getting worse.
Yes,
so
that is true.
I mean, maybe this is kind of the right way to prepare them.
But it's just so like effed up.
I mean, the world is kind of effed up.
I mean, I know but like, damn, dude.
Yeah.
Like, not only are we literally never going to show you any kind of kindness throughout your training for years.
Yeah.
No one's ever going to show you kindness. At all.
I'm not saying it's good.
Except for the only comfort you have is this cute little animal that they gave you as a pet that you were allowed to keep. But wait.
No, I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it may be be appropriate to the way the world actually works. I'm not saying it's good.
I mean, I guess to avoid that look on Geralt's face after he like kills all those guys in the bar at the beginning of The Witcher 3 and then tries to like help the lady up. Guess to avoid that look of pain that crosses his face. Yeah, Vipers didn't have to deal with that. There was no pain there.
Nope.
So the Vipers were trained on, I think it's in, I probably put an O there. My bad. The Vipers were trained in twin small blades and an assassination-based approach to killing monsters. Their fighting style featured sinuous, unpredictable movements using the two blades or fangs. Another style the Vipers employed was one of fast, furious strikes to overwhelm their target. These blades would often be coated with poison, as the school made great use of its knowledge of alchemy.
Yeah, so I guess that's a little bit different than blade oils. These were more specifically poisons than oils.
Yeah, I mean, you could technically consider the oil as poison.
I mean, they were poisonous to a specific type of monster.
Yeah, so I'm sure that they just decided to call it poison because it makes them seem more viper-like, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, they refer to their two swords as fangs, and they're poisoning their enemies
guys,
with their fangs.
These guys were like the edgelords of the Witchers.
Yeah, they were really
they all had like
into LARPing.
They slick back hair and they put on eyeliner. Yeah,
maybe, who knows?
Right.
Although they were willing to accept contracts on people, they did retain their sense of neutrality, only ever accepting coin for contracts and never taking sides in greater conflicts. So, unless they didn't have a choice, like when the Emperor of Nilfgaard tells you to kill some people.
I know what this is.
What is it?
All right, so
I want to know.
The School of the Wolf is like, like the early 2000s Spider-Man movies. The School of the Wolf is like regular Spider-Man. And then the School of the Viper is like in Spider-Man 3 where he goes like emo for like that weird section where he does like the weird dance and he like walks down the street. And then
fair enough.
That's the School of the Viper.
Dear. Oh my gosh. All right then. That's something that has been said live on a podcast.
Yep. And I'm right. All right, let's go through the members. Do you want to do the first one or should I do the first one? Oh God, look at all these names again. What am I getting into?
Yeah, there's some interesting names. I'll go with the first one because there's quite a few here.
All right.
So we got,
buckle up.
I put these together. So we got Ox, Serret, and quote unquote mysterious assassin because he's never named. All members of the Kingslayers sent by Emir. So these were the guys that were sent to kill the kings or to slay the kings. Game of Thrones people probably really familiar with the term Kingslayer. They helped Geralt save Yennefer from the Wild Hunt, an event that probably merits its own episode in the future that we will probably go into greater detail on these Witchers then. It's really important.
Yes. Sounds good. All right. So Gering the Kharkiv, he was... Actually, that came out really easily. He was notable for killing Mogrim and its creator, Ira, Frostsinger, as well as forging the sword Mogrim. Wait. He killed Mogrim and then forged a sword named after Mogrim?
Yeah, probably.
That's weird.
Makes sense.
I don't know that I've ever... I've read a lot of fiction. I played a lot of games based on that. That's weird to, forge a sword named after somebody you kill.
Well, it was like some really strong, powerful monster. And so, I
guess so. Like
probably
the
his greatest foe he ever.
Okay.
It was like, I respect you because I mean, it wasn't Mogrim's fault. He was created by Ira Frostsinger,
right? Who
then sent Mogrim, and it was like, okay, like
the respect
you didn't
of your enemy kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Then we have Ivor Evil Eye. What a name. Founder of the Viper School. When he underwent the mutations, he did so extremely well and was thus selected for further experiments. Out of those selected, he was the only to survive. As a result of those experiments, he gained his evil eye, which would give him his moniker. His left eye allowed him to see various other worlds, which led him to discovering the Wild Hunt.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And this is why he's obsessed with the Wild Hunt. He literally looked into the other worlds and saw the Wild Hunt like destroying them and was like, I gotta take them down. And I'm the only one who can see them. I gotta do it.
It makes sense though, as a monster hunter, to be like, okay, this is a problem. Gotta stop those guys. That's the problem. Colgrim was tasked with finding lost diagrams. In White Orchard, he was suspected to have kidnapped Vidi, the son of the local beekeeper. These accusations proved false in the end, but he was forced to visit the local lordling, Sir Ignatius Verriers. This is the most French-looking word I've ever read. I don't know how to pronounce it. Verrier. Colgrim decided to demand a trial by ordeal instead of being judged, depending on the lordling's goodwill, which later revealed to be a tragically wrong decision. His trial by ordeal was to cleanse the local crypt/cemetery from the spirits residing in it. I have a feeling that did not go well.
Yeah, for anyone familiar, I believe you can find his bones in the crypt in White Orchard. Well, didn't work out. I mean, it's the Witcher universe. When does it ever work out? Next, we have Letho of Gouletz, which is probably familiar to a lot of people. Known as the Kingslayer and a member of the same group, he has a big role in the game series and will likely receive his own episode of the future.
Was that a joke because he's a big guy? He's a big role because he's big.
I will not confirm or deny.
Then we have Warrett the All-Seeing. That's in quotes. He was famous for inventing a modified variant of the Supire or Supirre Supirre sign, which compensated the monster hunter's lack of sight by giving him the ability of echolocation, kind of like a bat.
Yeah. He was a blind witcher, and so used the sign to give him echolocation, which is like totally awesome.
That's pretty cool. Like, can you imagine? Like, I wonder if he makes like weird, like chirpy noises.
I'm not entirely sure what echolocation translates to in human terms. To be honest, because I mean, it's like not possible. So.
Right, but like in animals that have it, they actually make a sound, and it's usually
it's normally like a clicking or something.
It's like
right?
It's a high pitched kind of click, so it'd be like, and then you would like listen back for the echo. So, all right, well, those are the Vipers. Let's move on to the Manticore and the Crane, because these guys are pretty quick, because there's not a whole lot of info about them.
It was really not. So, yeah, and I put a little disclaimer here because they will never receive their own episodes. I just wanted to do a quick synopsis of the two schools because there's like barely any information on them. So little information, it can be surmised in a paragraph for each one. So we got the Manticore, located in the far east past the Korath Desert. The school is an enigma to the Northern Kingdoms since its members rarely ventured to the continent. The only known member was Merton, who converted to the teachings of Lebioda while on a quest for Grandmaster Gear. He is now the priest known as Shavel.
Yeah, this is cool because you don't really even see maps drawn out of this part of the world when you look up
super far away.
Yeah. So there's not much known about any of that stuff.
Yep. And next we have the Crane. Established after the Second Conjunction, this school was trained in sword and guns and specialized against monsters of the air and sea. When expecting to fight a sea monster, they would use a long rope to attach to the mast and wore what is essentially a wetsuit. It described it as a protective bodysuit that covered everything except for the head, feet, and hands. And so that's just a wetsuit, right?
Yeah.
In any other circumstances, they preferred to forego armor, instead only using a belt for their weapons.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So they went for the super agile route of like just no armor at all. Just don't get hit.
Yeah, it's just.
I mean, they got guns. I mean, they got like a pretty strong ranged weapon. So, you know.
Yeah, this is interesting too because you don't really in the games you don't really come across guns. There are crossbows, which would be the closest thing to a gun, and there are explosives. Like we see things like. I
mean, there is gunpowder in the game,
right?
But it's of course it's not like referred to as gunpowder because like guns aren't a thing yet, but like.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably doesn't take very long to go there, or maybe it's just like something that a specific part of the world has come up with. So, because they are early guns. So like, you know, probably like whatever, like flintlocks or whatever that were the earliest form of firearm. So
yeah, it took the forging of steel that was strong enough to contain the explosion in order to force the, I mean, there is steel. Right. So you start combining some of that stuff together, and then now you've got cannons and, handheld guns.
It's probably just some innovative dwarf somewhere far away from the continent was like, I bet I can make this thing go all the way over there with a contained explosion. So, but I mean, because you got to think about it. No one thinks about it. It was like, I bet I can shoot somebody with this, because it's like not in terms of that. You're just looking at something and you're like, I can make this really small iron ball go really far by putting a contained explosion in a metal tube.
Knowing dwarves, they're not testing iron balls. They're testing other dwarves. They're putting each other in it, trying to launch each other.
Oh my God.
Across the mountains. All right. Well, that's this week's episode. We've now wrapped up the schools. Where are we going next?
So, as most of you probably know, because we've been talking about it for a while, next week on Monday is the release of The Witcher: Nightmare of the Wolf, which I am so excited for. Just a week left until that drops. And so just to let everyone know that the next episode will be on Tuesday, the 24th, so that we can have the proper amount of time to enjoy and analyze the film, so that we can like really go in depth on it. Because trying to watch it the same day and then cram in like an outline on that, I'm sorry, but that's just, we got to do a good job. So I'm probably going to watch it like 4 times.
So instead of tuning into this episode live, if you are one of our live viewers, go watch that and then come back Tuesday night and discuss the show with us, or at least watch us discuss the show, and chime in chat and let us know your thoughts as we talk about that. And then we will be back the week after that at our normal time on Monday night again. And if anybody by then has signed up as one of our patrons who can join us
at the Leshen tier,
as a Leshen tier patron, then you are welcome to join us on the 30th. At the end of the month. That would be our first patron episode. If nobody's signed up at the Leshen tier by then, we'll do a regular episode and we'll be moving on to a new topic, just like usual. But that is now open. And again, patreon.com/Witcher Lorecast is the place to go if you are interested in helping to support the show. So go check that out. All sorts of fun stuff. You can get ad-free episodes, and if we've helped you get through a work day or a commute or a workout or anything at all, then you want to throw some money our way to help us out and check out all the goodies that you can get as well, then that's the place to do it. You have anything else going on, Toasty, that you want to share?
Nothing too crazy. I don't do much besides work and do this show.
Well, you play some video games. You play other games than The Witcher.
Yeah. I go back and forth. Right now, I've been kind of like delving into Genshin Impact, so it's been interesting. But I'm trying to get us to, because you mentioned Destiny 2 on the Xbox Game Pass show a couple weeks ago, and I really enjoyed playing Destiny 2. It was only a couple of years ago that I was like on a full Destiny 2 grind, so I would look forward to getting back on that. So I've got to get into I guess the last 2 years of content I didn't play through. I guess it's been about 2 years since I finished the story content. I honestly couldn't tell you though. I didn't hop into Destiny until like a couple of years ago, to be honest. Yeah. I never played Destiny 1, and I missed most of the beginning of Destiny 2. So, but
cool. I got Sam to try out Vermintide. Sam from the Mass Effect Lorecast and from the Xbox Game Pass show, which is coming up next. Played some Vermintide 2 with me this last week, and that game's so good. Chopping up all the rat men and stuff. Oh, it's so good. If I had
a better schedule, I'd play games with y'all more often. But y'all do that late. And,
it was on the weekend.
I work at 4 a.m.
So, you do get up early.
I don't have a dedicated schedule. I usually work on the weekend, to be honest. So and I wake up at 3 a.m. to go to work at 4 a.m. So staying up late is not a luxury I can afford, except for like the rare situation. But I try not to.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. We did some of that, and it's been fun. I've been trying to get in. I've been streaming more. I've been trying to stream more often. So But yeah, if I'll let you know if I'm playing any games during, hours that you're more likely to be around. But yeah, we've got the Xbox Game Pass show coming up next. We were going to have Lady Devon play. Something came up and join us during the show. Something came up. She's not going to be able to join us, but Lotus of Doom, my co-host from the Elder Scrolls Lorecast, is going to join us, talk about some of the Bethesda stuff that is on Game Pass. So he'll be here with us coming up for that show, which is going to start in about 30 minutes. And then, you guys know where you can find me on all the different shows that I've got going on, robotsradio.net for all that stuff. And that's about it for this show.
And follow us at Witcher Lorecast on Twitter.
Yeah, Witcher Lorecast.
I always forget to mention that.
On Twitter. Yep. And my personal stuff and the Robots Radio Network stuff, that all the stuff that when I notice it, I'll retweet it for anything else going on in the network at robots_radio. I've been trying to be more active on there and take clips from some of these shows and put them up there, and some of the like pre and post show silly wacky things that show up.
If you want some of those. So, I've seen those. I mean, that's just the whole beginning of our episode, to be honest, or whatever.
yes. So but yeah, I'm gonna head out for a little bit. I'll be back in 30 minutes. I will leave the stream up with some music for you guys to chill out to if you want to, but come on back in 30 minutes for the Xbox Game Pass show, and we'll see you then. Thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your day if I don't see you. And if I do see you in the next little bit, then I look forward to seeing you again soon. All right. See you guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Witcher Lorecast. We'd love to hear about your experiences with the games and the books and the TV series and all your thoughts on everything. Please check out the Robots Radio Discord and follow us on Twitter at Witcher Lorecast.
You've been listening to a Robots Radio podcast. Smart shows for interesting people. Check out all the shows at robotsradio.net.